What's up, everybody? This is Mike Manzo with another Manzo Faust Productions video. And it's that time of month again. Time to unbox the April package from Vinegar Syndrome. I got a small package this month. I only got a couple of partner label titles that came out this month, and I also got a couple of backstock, and I got the main releases. So, yeah, without further ado, let's open this thing up. And, yeah, pretty good month, from what I remember. I didn't pre-game very well, so some of this I might be a bit ill-informed on. But let's see what we got. Oh, yeah. So yeah, like I said, kind of limited this month. I only got about 10 titles total. Yeah, just organize these real quick. So, yeah, like I said, I got a couple of back titles that I've been kind of sleeping on. They were getting fairly low, so I wanted to make sure I picked those up. And, yeah, I think I'm good. Alright, so I'm going to start with the Vinegar Syndrome titles for the month. First up, we got Curse of the Blue Lights. This is one of those ones I'm not exactly sure about. I didn't do my fair research into it at first, but looks like fun. Very lo-fi sort of, is this 80s? Yeah, so 88, lo-fi, kind of regional charm. From what I've been hearing, would fit very well into those homegrown horror kind of box sets, and not very easily available on a good print. So yeah, decided to check that out. We got Vacation of Terror 1 and 2. I believe these are Mexican. Let me see. Yeah, Mexican cinema. This looks pretty fun, pretty over the top, sort of, I guess it's kind of a, like, I'm thinking like a Village of the Damned kind of evil children kind of flick, but I might be wrong. And, the one I'm the most excited about out of the main package this month is, cover up the offensive part. 5 Women for the Killer. This is a film by Stella Massi, who I'm not familiar with. Apparently he did Arabella Black Angel, which I believe was in volume 5 of the, but I might be wrong. But this looks pretty good. Standard giallo. Something that would definitely fit in with the Forgotten Giallo sets they've been releasing. So, yeah, pretty solid lineup. I'm really excited for next month. Obviously, May is huge, and that's why I didn't get a lot this month, because the anticipation for a lot of the May titles. So, yeah. Do a little bit more rearranging here. So, I'll get into the partner label titles from this month. One of them I'm going to save till last because it fits in with one of the labels that I ordered a bunch from. So first up, I don't know if I'll have to, I'll just show the cover. We got the Full Moon Trilogy from, oh God, I hate how they, Joe Swanberg, who also did another film called OCN. Kind of a mumblecore kind of thing. This is a trilogy. I just thought it was interesting because it's about kind of like, it's a movie about filmmaking, which I really love, and it does dive into a lot of adult cinema in that kind of world. Looks really good. I love Factory 25 releases, so wanted to jump on that. They are like mumblecore kind of adjacent films, which I'm not the hugest fan of that genre, but give them a try. Should be really interesting nonetheless. Next up, we got one of like the coolest new labels to come out. Their vibe kind of reminds me a little bit of Yellow Veil, these kind of character pieces that really delve into a lot of like mental health and kind of societal issues. This is one done by the two people who made The Endless, which I still have not seen. I know everybody's like raving about how gorgeous and amazing that film is. But this is Something in the Dirt. I believe this was made 2021, 2022, or maybe even during the COVID lockdown, and this looks very cool. Very interested in diving into this. You know, it's got a couple of nice Q&As with different people who I don't believe are involved with the film. It's got one with Mike Flanagan and one with LP. So that's pretty cool. Maybe they'll have some cool insight on the film, so that's exciting. This one was kind of just like, I don't know. This might be a dud. ETR has kind of been a little wonky lately. I like the Golden Era documentary about the GoldenEye video game from the 90s. I thought that was really fun, but that's like something I have a nostalgia for. The other ones they've been releasing, the Clue documentary really didn't do it for me. I didn't have any interest in that, and from what I was seeing, it was mostly made over like Zoom calls, and obviously the very controversial one that they put out was that like the history of the VCR kind of, it was sold as a documentary, but from what I've been hearing, it was more of like a PowerPoint slideshow, and that makes sense because the other documentary about the history of cassettes I've watched on like YouTube, and it was just boring and, you know, like no good information out of the whole thing. It just was not like worth the price. And I feel like that one only sold well because of the slipcover, because they have like a cool gimmick with it. So, you know, I'm not really sold on a lot of this stuff, and this is definitely a subject that's been done to death in a lot of ways, but I am a vinyl fanatic, as you can tell. So I went with Vinyl Nation. Looks like your pretty standard vinyl documentary, and, you know, for as, you know, polluted with these movies as we've been the last like 10, 15 years, you know, I do like a good documentary that does really go into detail about like the community of vinyl collectors and everything like that. And you know, you get the same thing out of these like VHS documentaries of like VHS collectors and stuff. And a lot of those are really good, but they do get old after a while. But I wanted to check this out. Seems pretty cool. I love that artwork. You know, you got the basic phonograph record on the back. So yeah, not expecting too much out of that one. So next three I'm gonna show are like back title scores that I hadn't got yet, and then I'll show one more recent release. So this one is from Death Crocodile, and I'm really sad that I slept on this because all the Death Crocodile stuff I've been getting is top notch. Really good, like underrepresented films. And this one looked great. They did a whole like Kickstarter campaign for it, I believe, where they were trying to raise money for like the print and stuff. I don't think this has been. I think it was pretty much a lost film. So I'm interested in diving into a lot of this, and it's a blaxploitation film, so right up my alley. And this artwork is amazing. So we got Solomon King. I believe this is from 73, 74. This great retro 70s style blaxploitation artwork on that one. And this looks really cool. It's apparently pretty, kind of a little bit different. Apparently it's got more of like a comedic element to it, because I'm seeing comparisons to Dolomite, one of my favorite blaxploitation series. So yeah, I'm looking forward to digging into this. It has a lot of little featurettes on the restoration process and all the work that they went through with that, which might be pretty cool. These all come with booklets mostly, so yeah, looking forward to finally digging into Solomon King, because I've heard nothing but good things. So the next three I'm going to show are two back titles and this month's release from Canadian International Pictures, and I love this company. They're slowly becoming one of my top favorites of the partner labels that Vinegar Syndrome works with, because not only do they have these great, like, underseen, important Canadian films, but the features are just insane. The one I watched recently, The Ernie Game, and I like The Ernie Game. I thought it was a very interesting, like, late 60s proto-taxi driver kind of feel to it, but a little bit more light-hearted feeling than you would out of, like, a Taxi Driver. It's not as, doesn't have that, like, just hopeless nihilism that you get out of a Taxi Driver kind of film. Still very dark, still dealing with a character who's definitely reprehensible and definitely has a lot of demons. But what I loved about that release was it had a couple of really good documentaries made by that filmmaker, and that's what they do. They take the main film, but then they put a bunch of shorts and stuff that was made for like Canadian television and everything like that. And the great feature on the Ernie Game Blu-ray was a documentary on Leonard Cohen. What I did not realize when I bought it is this documentary on Leonard Cohen is before he became known for his music, when he was more of a poet, and he used to do these live poetry readings at like college campuses and stuff like that. And it's just gorgeous hearing such a brilliant man talk about poetry and writing and his kind of life experience before, you know, his music, which is what I mostly know from Leonard Cohen. And it makes sense, because you listen to Leonard Cohen's music and you hear that poetry, you hear that kind of folk tradition in it, which does grow out of this very college-oriented sort of like beatnik scene at the time of the early 60s. So that was very interesting. So I want to get really deep into these Canadian kind of films. So excited to get into these. So first up, just from the title alone, I'm really, really excited from this one, and that is The Other French New Wave. We have a few films, and we have like a red version of the artwork on the inside. And this looks great. These are all from 64, 65, and 66, so early 60s stuff. We got some short films included. Yeah, just tons of stuff on here. And this is stuff I'm not as familiar with. I'm a big French New Wave fan. I've become more so over the past few years that I've been able to reach out to. I've been able to find a lot of these films a lot easier through Criterion. Their streaming service always has a bunch of great, like Godard and Melville and all those kind of films. And these are more, I believe these are Canadian filmmakers in the 60s making these sort of French New Wave inspired films. So really into that. Next up, a film I don't know a lot about, but another subject matter I really love is crime films. I've always been a big fan of, The Godfather and all the classic gangster films of the 30s and 40s. Obviously, Goodfellas and Casino, a lot of the Scorsese stuff. I love a lot of Sergio Leone's work, like Once Upon a Time in America, I think is just gorgeous. So I love a lot of crime films, Carlito's Way is another really big one. I like Scarface. I feel like it's a little bit overhyped and does not age well for me. Like, the more I see Scarface, the less I like it. But Carlito's Way is definitely like the better De Palma, Al Pacino collaborative kind of crime film. So I'm really big into that one. So this is from is this a 75? So this is a Canadian mob film called The Mob. And I like this artwork a lot. I don't really know much about this film, but I'm really looking forward to digging into this. Should be very cool. And last but not least, for the Canadian International Pictures and for this video, and this is stacked as well. This is from 1989, so this comes a little bit later, and this is probably coming out of when Canada was having a huge, I think it was the tax shelter era was like all throughout the 80s and the early 90s. But this looks interesting, definitely like another cool character study style film, and the influence of like media and television and everything like that. We got speaking parts and cool packaging on that. So a lot of interviews. You got a lot of short films, all the great stuff you come to expect from this company. And so really looking forward to digging into that. And I plan on the future doing kind of like a spotlight on different partner labels. There's just a couple of the labels that I need to get a few more titles from, and I'll get into that. But I feel like they all have their own kind of identity and sort of the movies that they go after and the movies that they choose to release and the way they present the films and everything like that. So Death Crocodile, Factory 25, Saturn's Core, which is a lot more of that like SOV kind of stuff. I got to catch up on them because I haven't been buying a lot of their stuff. Maybe go back a bit and do Terror Vision, who is not like directly a partner label, but during their time as a partner label, they released a lot of really cool stuff that I've been personally waiting for forever, that I've really enjoyed their releases of. And Fun City Editions, another one that's kind of branched off and been more connected with MVD distribution lately, but they have a bunch of stuff that they released on the OCN catalog that is just amazing. So I really want to dig into them as well. That's probably going to be my first one because they were one of the earliest labels to emerge, and I have the most titles from them. So so keep your eyes open. That'll probably come in June, if not May. So maybe if I come up with something in May, because I feel like I'm going to be buying a lot in the month of May. And it would be cool to start in June because June is partner label month. There's no Vinegar Syndrome releases available that month, so they can focus on the partner labels. And I think, to the best of my knowledge, they do have like discounts on older titles. So that'll be definitely something to consider. So yeah, and that'll be it. So Monday I posted a video on Revelation Records and my continuing kind of label spotlight. It hasn't been getting a lot of views. I haven't been promoting it very well as much as I usually do, so that might have something to do with it. I do also realize that my spotlight videos don't always do as great as other videos, which doesn't really matter to me. Just as long as people are viewing them and I'm able to keep making them, that's all I really care about. But if you have not checked that video out, I think it's cool. You know, it's a lot of records I have discussed in the past on this channel. A lot of them I talked about in my New York Hardcore Spotlight. But yeah, if you have not checked that out, go do that. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff that YouTubers tell you to do. If you're looking for me on social media, I can be found at the Hordes of Manzerfaust on Instagram. And that'll about do it. So this is Mike Manzer with another Manzerfaust Productions video. Stay fucking metal.